Garrett Mitchell, the man behind the Cleetus McFarland name, just confirmed his return to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th, driving the number 33 Tommy's Express Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet. But to understand why that announcement hit differently than it should have, you need to go back to where this story really started. Garrett Mitchell's Cleetus McFarland character debuted in a 1320 video clip around 2014 as a tongue-in-cheek patriotic racer. He went to law school, filmed videos after class, took out student loans, then dropped out in 2020 to become what he called a professional redneck. He grew to 4.5 million YouTube subscribers through drag racing Corvettes, burnout contests, and high boost experiments. In 2020, he purchased Florida's former DeSoto Speedway, renamed it the Freedom Factory, and turned it into a full content and live event empire. He built FRDM Plus, a streaming platform for grassroots motorsports, and unified his business under Cleetus McFarland Enterprises. This was never just a guy with a camera. This was a media company with a racing addiction. But the thing that actually pushed him towards serious NASCAR competition wasn't clout or a business plan. It was a friendship. Cleetus McFarland and NASCAR champion Greg Biffle met during Hurricane Helene relief efforts. They bonded over helicopters and Crown Vics. And what started as a casual friendship quietly became something more. Greg Biffle was an accidental mentor of mine, McFarland told People. Like in no way, shape, or form when him and I met did we foresee our relationship to be the way it was, where he taught me how to be a stock car driver. Under Biffle's guidance, McFarland made real headway into competitive racing. Then in December, Biffle died in a plane crash, along with his wife, son, and daughter. After his death, McFarland posted a 41-minute tribute video. He still mentions Biffle at every race. Every time I go to Charlotte, I'm just so sad because he's not there. Now he races carrying what he calls the Be Like Biff mentality. Positive, hardworking, always making time for people. This isn't a content stunt. This is a man honoring someone he lost by doing the exact thing that person believed he could do. The racing journey itself has been a steep climb. In February 2026, McFarland ran the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Daytona International Speedway. He qualified 12th, genuinely impressive for a newcomer, but crashed by himself off turn 4 on lap 6 and finished 37th. The result looked bad on paper, but his in-car livestream pulled nearly 800,000 views, almost matching the TV broadcast itself. The NASCAR world saw, in real time, exactly what Cleetus McFarland brings to the sport. Then came Rockingham, his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut. He qualified 35th, finished 32nd, ran 6 laps down, spun out multiple times including the incident that brought out the final caution, and collected a pit box penalty running on tires with 100 laps on them. On paper, it was rough. In reality, he finished the race without destroying another competitor's day. That same weekend, he finished 4th in the ARCA East race at the same track. The overall weekend told a more complete story than the O'Reilly result alone. O'Reilly, as predicted, got my butt kicked, McFarland said afterward. But I finished the race. Our goal as a team was to finish the race and not get last, so we did meet our goals. Then at Kansas, running in the ARCA race, he started 25th, worked his way up to as high as 7th, and was running 10th when the engine failed. He made over 75% of the race distance before the mechanical problem ended his day. He called the performance a win. The pace was real, and people inside the sport noticed it. Despite all of that, when Rockingham was assessed for superspeedway approval, NASCAR said no. John Probst, NASCAR's EVP and Chief Racing Development Officer, said on the official Holler Talk podcast, he is approved right now for O'Reilly Series short tracks, which means he's good for all of ARCA, all of Truck, and then O'Reilly up through the short tracks. We'd like to see more out of Cleetus in the short tracks. So we're not saying no, but there is more that we would like to see out of Cleetus before we would approve him for Talladega. RCRs. Danny Lawrence had already seen it coming. We didn't get to do a live pit stop. There were a lot of things they wanted to see happen that didn't happen. McFarland's response came in a raw, unedited, one-take Facebook video. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted you to hear it from me first, that I have been denied by NASCAR to run Talladega in my O'Reilly car. He didn't deflect blame. I tried to pass someone 3 wide on the 4th lap and spun out and then spun out again. Got a pit box penalty. You kind of caused your own show. He acknowledged the outside pressure working against him. There's a ton of outside pressure saying I shouldn't be approved. And then he said the line that defined his whole approach. We will make it to Talladega in an O'Reilly car one day. Mark my words. The fan reaction was fierce and emotional. People didn't read the denial as a safety assessment. They saw someone who genuinely loves the sport getting held back. That's where the real debate lives. Not whether McFarland has finished developing as a driver, because clearly he hasn't, but whether the sport should accelerate his path because of what he brings to the table. Probst addressed the tension directly. There is a fine line between the entertainment side and the sport itself. The mood started shifting when Kyle Petty, one of the loudest pre-Rockingham skeptics, publicly changed his tone after the race. Petty had argued that NASCAR is a professional sport, and a social following should not substitute for the traditional development process. After Rockingham, he said, "If you're going to criticize, you've got to give credit. Cleetus did what he needed to do, that he did not tear anything up, did not really get in anybody's way, and that it was enough to shut up guys like him." The criticism didn't disappear. It evolved from "why is he here" to "okay, maybe there's something workable here." In NASCAR, that kind of shift from a veteran voice carries real weight, which brings everything back to Nashville. The announcement, confirmed April 20th and 20, honest across multiple reports, has McFarland returning in the number 33 as part of his 3-race deal with RCR for 2026. RCR's public message was 4 words: "He's back." McFarland's own announcement was measured: heavy simulator prep, extensive training with RCR, and an honest admission that he still needs to dial in his turning left. Nashville Superspeedway is not a soft landing. Multiple reports described it as his first intermediate-style challenge at this level. The learning curve changes again. What to watch for isn't a headline finish. It's a cleaner, more composed race than Rockingham. If he manages the long green flag rhythm, stays out of trouble, and shows comfort over the full distance, that's a successful day. Because every lap at Nashville is a lap toward the bigger question still hanging over everything: when does NASCAR finally say yes to the superspeedways? NASCAR hasn't closed the door. RCR never walked away. Even the sharpest critics moved. "I've got a lot to learn, guys," McFarland said after the Talladega denial. "I just need to get out there more and do as much learning as possible, and then hopefully I'll get to run Daytona and Talladega next year." Rejection usually stops momentum. In Cleetus McFarland's case, it created more of it, and Nashville on May 30th is the next place the whole NASCAR world will be watching.